Alright, this is my Sprint4, and first I wanted to show the Scorpion Factory because on Sprint2 you're wondering about it and wondering about if it's a singleton or not. So in the Scorpion Factory I actually have the function for the instance, so there only can be one Scorpion Factory, and then inside the CPP file I have that pointer instance being set to null pointer. And then if we go and spawn the Scorpion Factory will say that it's spawned and that it's being initialized on the left side. And I'll go and poison mushrooms. And then next thing I'll go and talk about is the finite state machine. Then also from Sprint 2, you brought up about the Scorpion, whether or not I flipped or not. It just went from the right side to the left side, so I'm actually flipping it, which is shown in this code over here. Then in the finite state machine, in the transform, this is where I set my statics, and this is all that it is, and then there is no CPP file for it. Then for the transform state, this is the virtual class, so this sets up all the functions for it and sets it up in arrays. This sets it as constant, so this actually makes the objects that the Centipede will look at. And then if we go and get rid of these really quick. Then we go and look at one of the functions here. I've set up so it tests the boundary for it all. So then whether it's, you can enum for the status, whether it's normal, empty, and then else if it's poisoned. And as you can see, I have a show function to show right after it gets done for the turns what turn it's at for the Centipede. For the head, this is basically how I have the movement working in, so it gets the number of what element it should be in the array, and that's the same thing for the rotation, and then whether it's next or not. So for this part, inside the factory, I send the position of where I want the Centipede head to be and the amount of segments that I want behind the Centipede. So basically what happens is when the Centipede is made, it'll initialize the segments. So then if it's greater than 0, it'll subtract 1, and then it'll go and make a new segment, and then the segments after that will go and subtract 1 from the segments also. They'll go down here and also go and use the same function and subtract 1, and they'll create one, but instead of it being the head, it's a segment, because all the pointers for this list is derived from the Centipede base class for this next and previous. And then if there's no more segments, it'll just set it to null, and then that means it's the tail. We'll go to do this one more time. And set this up. That will go and see the poison mushroom work, and it brings it all the way down to the player area, and then it goes back to normal. And then you can see that also in the output. And lastly, we have the score. So in the beginning I have all the scores set to 0. And then, let's see, I'll bring this up really quick. Score manager. I do not have it set up for the commands yet, so I have each one separately. But I do have the score set up, and each time I get a point, I'll change the score. Right now it's on the current player, and then I'll have a function set up to switch players. So basically, if you look at the output, if I destroy a mushroom, say current player is 1 and 2. Then if I go and spawn the flea, it changes to 203 for 200 points for the flea.